Evening peeps, good evening everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. We have some breaking news, peeps. I say breaking news, we all knew this fight was going to happen, but it has now officially been announced that Canelo will take on John Ryder May 6th in Mexico, live on DAZN pay-per-view. For now, DAZN pay-per-view in the US and Canada markets. I don't think it's going to be pay-per-view for us over here, which is good news. It does mean that we are going to have a big run of fights back-to-back weekends, which is good, right? That's what we want. We got March 25th, we've got Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. The next week, AJ Franklin. I think the week after that, or the following week's Joe Joyce versus Zhili Zhang. What we got after that? 22nd of April, we've got Joe Cordina versus Rakhimov, remember? And also in America, you got the small matter of Garcia versus Tank. And then April 29th, fingers crossed, we've got Fury versus Usyk. And then May 6th, we've got Canelo. So it is good sort of boxing, big name boxing, back to back to back to back. The reaction to this fight has been interesting. I went onto Matchroom's page, who posted the image of it. And sort of the reaction underneath has been... I don't know. I think a bit harsh. No, not a bit harsh. Very, very harsh on Canelo. Like, I won't have any Canelo slander. I just can't accept it. I can't. And I'm not even Canelo's biggest fan. I mean, his last couple of fights, I've rooted against him, right? I wanted Golovkin to beat him. And you guys saw, I certainly wanted Mr. Bivol to beat him, which he did. But you know what? Yeah. I mean, I was doing something the other day with Barry Jones, who's one of the best out there. And we were just sort of looking at Canelo's run for the last, we went back for the last sort of 10 years. But if you think of the run in the last sort of 4 years, just 4 or 5, for the 5 years, right? So 2018 onwards, it's ridiculous. I mean, this guy, firstly, he guarantees you 2 fights a year, which I think is the minimum, but you don't get it. You just don't get 2 fights a year anymore, unfortunately. I mean, you look at even Usyk, who I think is a great, and obviously, look, I know Usyk's been sort of stuck because he's been waiting on fights to happen and all the stuff that happened in Ukraine. But Usyk only gives you a fight a year nowadays. So does AJ, right? I mean, your best fighter gives you a fight a year. Whereas Canelo guarantees you 2 fights a year. So that alone, you have to kind of applaud him. Like, wow, this guy stays fit. He stays in shape. He guarantees me 2 fights a year. Even after the Golovkin fight, there was a lot of talk about hand surgery and he might not fight on this day. But no, he's fighting. And then you look at the run of people that he's fought in those 5 years. And again, look, I'm not a big Canelo fan. All the issue with Klambutaro, I'm not his biggest fan. But you look at that run, and it's like, it's Danny Jacobs is in that run. You've got unbeaten Callum Smith in that run. Unbeaten Billy Joe Saunders in that run. Unbeaten Caleb Plant in that run. Unbeaten Bivol at 175 in that run. Sergey Kovalev to become a 4-weight world champion. Golovkin trilogies in that run as well. I'm sorry, you can't then sort of have a dig at him. Oh, look, he's fighting John Ryder, the bum. What? Canelo? I'm sorry, no. You can do that to any other boxer fighting right now, but you can't do that to him because he gives us fights. I mean, he fights unbeaten champions consistently. This isn't a case of him sort of picking and choosing. I know some people say, but he's not fought Benavidez. Don't just solely put Canelo's career down to not fighting Benavidez, because you look at, again, I was doing a piece on him a few days ago, so I remember his 10-year sort of run vividly, and it's ridiculous, man. Honestly, it's ridiculous. So I'm not even going to call this a gimme. This isn't an Avni Yildirim gimme for me, but if he's going to have a gimme, and I don't think John Ryder's that, then I don't mind him having one, because his last 2 fights he's given me Gennady Golovkin and Dmitry Bivol. That's what he's done in his last 2. So I don't mind if your third's this. And this is a mandatory defense, by the way, of his WBA, I think. But I don't mind this, because you know, like, one thing you guys know, and I think we can all admit it, the next fight, the September one, is going to be something crazy. Whether it's going to be Dmitry Bivol, it's going to be something good. You just know it is. You know why you know it is? Because the record books tell you it's going to be. Canelo's hit list tells you, okay, if I have what you guys are thinking is a gimme, the next one. You just know it's going to be. So I'm not upset about this fight at all. Like, not one bit. because again, this guy's given me a lot in the last 5 years, a lot more than I would have hoped for. I'm happy that he's fighting back in Mexico. I do feel like that, not that there's a disconnect, but you always hear these stories about sort of the Mexican fans and Canelo. There seems to be the love I thought was there for him. It's there, but not in the same way other Mexican greats have received love from Mexican fans. I do think it's important that he goes back and fights back home. It will be in a 50,000 seat arena, seat stadium. Good luck to John Ryder. Good luck, buddy. I mean, look, you get the call that you're going to fight Canelo. And first of all, look, John Ryder ain't going to care. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. There's a want and a wish he would have had to have gone somewhere else. But ultimately, he's a fighter and he's going to get paid the biggest paycheck of his career. He'll touch 7 figures for the first time. Whether that's 2 million, 3 million, I'm not quite sure. 4, 5 maybe. I'm not quite sure. As a mandatory, he'll get the short end of the stick, but he will get his 7 figures. But that being said, the options on the table when this fight was whispered a few months back, and I think I mentioned this, the options on the table were Canelo coming over here. Do you remember hearing that? There was talks about Canelo coming over here to the Emirates Stadium. Maybe that was kind of just sort of ticked off or crossed off, because the season's now been elongated, obviously, because of the World Cup. So that couldn't happen. There was talks about it going to the Middle East. That isn't happening. And then finally, I mean, if you're John Ryder, you're thinking, okay, those two can't happen. It's okay. I'll go Vegas. My name will be lit up on the strip. All my friends will come over, because who doesn't like a weekend in Vegas, right? And then you're told you're going Mexico. It's like, fuck's sake, Mexico. You know, I mean, if this wasn't hard enough, you know, Canelo's not fought in Mexico. It's been a long time. Let's have a look. It can't have been Ryan Rhodes. It's surely not. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can quickly find it. Where's his box? Right, there you go. It can't be. It honestly cannot be Ryan Rhodes. Ladies and gentlemen, oh no, it's Kermit Cintron. Okay, yeah. Kermit Cintron was his last fight in Mexico, but that was 2011. And he broke Kermit Cintron down, boy. Stopped him in the 5th round, I believe, or 4th round. Good luck, John. This ain't going to be... He's going to want to put on a performance. And I do think there is this thing with Canelo now where I can't help but feel like people have wrote him off a little bit. Just a little bit. Remember, this is the guy that was pound for pound #1 for 3 or 4 years, right? Again, you heard the run. I just mentioned sort of the fights he's had. And I do think with that Bivol defeat, and because Golovkin was full E and Golovkin was jumping up in weight, I don't think he got too much credit for the Golovkin win. So there are some questions when it comes to Canelo. Like, at what is he, 32, 33, long career. Like, Canelo's been boxing since he was 15. Dude, think 15, 18 years Canelo's been doing this. So I do think there are some questions of, you know, what's the want for Canelo? Do I think Canelo can win a belt at 175? Not with Bivol and Beterbiev around. No, I don't. The defense is at 168. There's going to be a time when he maybe has to fight Benavidez, and he's always spoken about not wanting to fight a fellow Mexican. He might just have to do that. So there are some things out there for him to, not to prove, but some goals to attain, maybe. I don't know. I don't think there is. I mean, look, he's clearly not doing this for the money. I mean, you guys saw a video I did the other day where he's worth like, or his career earnings are touching or just over $500 million. So financially he's okay. He's a full-weight world champion. He's been pound for pound #1. He's had some of the biggest fights of all time. When you think of that Floyd Mayweather fight that done, 2.2 million pay-per-view buys. He's going to have to ask himself what the want is. He's going to have to ask that question. I still think there will be a want to get back at Bivol. I don't think he can beat Bivol at 175. Can he drain Bivol down at 168 and beat him? Maybe. You know, chucking a couple of rehydration clauses in there. You know what you got to do, what you got to do. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see this next and final chapter, because this is now the final chapter of Canelo's career. I don't expect Canelo to have more than 4 or 5 fights left. I honestly, I don't. And what he accomplishes in those, right now, the question is, and sorry, I'm going all over the place with this video, but the question is, for Canelo, I think that he's an all-time great. Is he higher than Julio Cesar Chavez? I was about to say Junior there. I had to stop myself. But is he higher than him? Is he higher than Chavez? Is he? That's the one, I think. And the next 4 or 5 fights might just take him above that. A Benavidez win does that. A Bivol win does that. So I think that's what he's gunning for now. Can he be the greatest Mexican fighter of all time? If he puts a Bivol and a Benavidez on his CV, then yes. Right now, I don't think so. Peace.